Okay, everyone, I am back. And I want to talk about Jacob Eason. Jacob Eason, if you don't know who he is a quarterback that currently plays for the Indianapolis Colts. He was a 4th-round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of him were Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, and Jalen Hurts. Now, I'm very intrigued by Jacob Eason. If you don't know who Jacob Eason is, like I said, he's a former college quarterback that was drafted by the Colts. I felt that as a prospect, he was much more underrated than overrated. You know, I saw this guy making incredible throws at Washington, this big, strong quarterback named Jacob Eason. I said to myself, why are not more people talking about him? I know Tua, is a good player. I know Justin Herbert has a lot of talent. I know Joe Burrow's great, but we might need to start talking about Jacob Eason because if this guy lands with a really good team, he could really become a pretty good franchise quarterback. I truly believe that when I was scouting him coming out of Washington. If you don't know Jacob Eason, he did start his college football career at Georgia. He did have to transfer away to Washington just because he got hurt at Georgia. Then he lost his starting job to Jake Fromm. Okay, and so I want to talk about Jacob Eason, kind of what I think he could bring to the table for the Colts. And potentially if he's their future franchise quarterback, Look, when you look at Jacob Eason, there's a lot to like with this guy, okay? He has elite size and elite arm strength. Jacob Eason is 6'6", 231 pounds, and he has an absolute cannon for an arm. His arm strength is off the charts. If you're just talking about from an arm strength perspective, from just how powerful your arm is, I can make the argument right now that Jacob Eason has one of the 5 most powerful and strongest arms right now today in the NFL. I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback, but just from a talent perspective, based on the throws he can make, how much power and how much torque he can create with his arm, his ability to throw the deep ball, it's off the charts, okay? He can make a lot of big plays. And Jacob Eason right now today is only 23 years old, and you're not paying Jacob Eason hardly any money. Based on quarterbacks and their salaries today, Jacob Eason is dirt cheap because he's a 4th-round pick. It's kind of like there's a little bit of a Dak Prescott quality here, where Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick and the Cowboys were getting discounts for years and years. That's why I didn't understand why they were so hesitant to pay him because, well, you've been getting a discount for the last 4 to 5 seasons, Dallas, you know what I'm saying? But if Jacob Eason pans out, I could see potentially the Colts moving on from Carson Wentz because you're paying Jacob Eason not a whole lot of money. That allows you flexibility to go out there and trade for star players and acquire free agents and be aggressive. When you're paying a guy like, Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson or even Josh Allen now who's getting paid a ton of money, it kind of limits what you can do in free agency at times. However, we have seen teams work around the cap situation and things like that. Now, Jacob Eason, he's in his 2nd year in the Indianapolis Colts offensive system. And I said that when he was coming out of college, he has a chance to really soak in some information and learn from Fil A, a guy that potentially could be a Hall of Fame quarterback one day. And the things you heard about Jacob Eason coming out of Georgia and Washington was his work ethic was a little bit questionable. So, hopefully Jacob Eason has learned from his days at Washington and at Georgia, where he maybe didn't study the playbook as much, kind of just got away with his talent, because there's a real opportunity for this guy to potentially be the starting quarterback of the future for the Colts if Carson Wentz is hurt and if he plays well, okay? Because here's the thing. If he balls out, I think the Colts will go with him because he's on that rookie contract, okay? Now, when it comes to Jacob Eason, the things that you worry about, he was a 4th-round pick. So, look, I thought that Jacob Eason had 1st-round talent and should have gone anywhere from late 1st round to early 2nd round based on what he showed in college, but he dropped to the 4th round. Again, there are a lot of people that, watch a whole lot of tape, a lot more tape than me, that are much more informed about what a really good franchise quarterback looks like. I'm willing to admit that. There are some people out there when it comes to quarterbacks that are a little bit more smarter than me. okay? And for some reason, the talent evaluators and the people making the draft pick said Jacob Eason, not ready to quite be a franchise quarterback right now. He's going to be a 4th-round pick. And the Colts snagged him up. And Jacob Eason only had one great year in college. Like, his freshman year at Georgia was okay. And then he obviously has to transfer away to Washington. His junior year at Washington was really good, but he was only great in college for 1 year. And he got beat out by Jake Fromm at Georgia. And if you get beat out initially by a guy like Jake Fromm in college, and you only have one great year in college, I can kind of understand why NFL teams are a little bit scared off. And Jacob Eason also isn't the most mobile guy. You know, he's not going to run away from defenders like Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, even Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have that get-out-of-jail-free card that a Justin Fields, has, or potentially a Kyler Murray has, So he's going to have to win from within the pocket. And sometimes what we see from young quarterbacks is if they don't know the playbook that well and they're not great at dissecting defenses early in their career, if you're not able to protect them, then they're kind of out there as toast because they're not able to process information quickly and they can't evade the rush like a Kyler Murray, like a Justin Fields, because let's be real. Kyler Murray, his rookie year, he wasn't great at reading defenses, but because he was able to move around and scramble and make plays, he was just kind of making stuff up on the fly. And while Jacob Eason does have a powerful arm, at times when he's moved off a spot, things got rocky at Washington and at Georgia. And I also think that Jacob Eason could use some work as far as throwing with anticipation and throwing the ball with touch down the field and reading defenses. And the reality about Jacob Eason is he now has to develop very fast because Carson Wentz is hurt and there's really no one else on the roster that the Colts have other than maybe Sam Ehlinger. Maybe they trade for Nick Foles, but I think Jacob Eason has to grow up pretty fast. So I think Jacob Eason has a shot. If he really hones in that playbook and the Colts design their offense around his skill set and they're able to protect him and run the football effectively, I think Jacob Eason has a shot, but we shall see. Only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.